Good morning. Good morning. It sure is nice to live in beautiful California this time of year, isn't it? Even though it's a little foggy, you know that the sun's going to come out and it's going to be beautiful. Well, here at the church, we always start our lecture off with some words of wisdom. And today I'm going to be giving you those words from the Aquarian Gospel of Jesus Christ according to the book of Levi. All men are looking unto you for guidance in the ways of life. Example is another name for priest. So what you would that people be, that you must be. Practice what you preach, walk your walk, talk your talk. A simple godly life may win 10,000 souls to purity and right. And all the people said, Amen. Then Jesus left the synagogue, and at the hour of the evening prayer, he went to the sacred grove. And all of the people turned their faces toward their holy mount and prayed. And Jesus prayed, and he sat in silent mood of voice, of soul, spoke to his soul, imploring help, which means he went to there to meditate. I will always be a huge advocate of meditation. Meditation is the key to awareness. And Jesus taught this all through his life here. And Jesus saw a woman on her couch in sore distress, for she was sick and nigh unto death. She could not speak, but she had heard that Jesus was a man of God, and in her heart she called upon him for help. And Jesus helped. He did not speak, but like a flash of light, a mighty virtue from his soul filled the body of the dying one, and she arose and joined her kindred while they prayed. Her kindred were astonished, and they said to her, How were you healed? And she replied, I do not know. I simply asked the man of God in thought for the healing power, and in a moment I was well. The people said, Well, the gods have surely come to the earth, for man has not the power to heal by thought. But Jesus said, The greatest power in heaven and on earth is thought. God made the universe by thought. He paints the lily and the rose with thought. Why think it strange that I should send a healing thought and change the ethers of disease and death to those of health and life? Lo, you shall see far greater things than this, for by the power of holy thought, my body will be changed from carnal flesh to spirit form, and so will yours. When Jesus had said this, he disappeared, and no one saw him go. So I would like for you to meditate on those words and realize thought is everything. You can change your life by how you think. You can be powerful and make your life miraculous, and you can also destroy your life unless you change your thoughts, change your thinking, change your life. So, a lot of information today. I'm going to be talking about when making New Year's resolutions and setting goals. Instead of the same resolutions that we tend to make every year, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to make more money, quit smoking. How about using realistic goals that you can use in your life? Something that's going to make your life more harmonious, better, happier. So instead of this year setting yourself up for possible failure, this seems kind of silly, but I would say give yourself at least 5 goals that you know you will absolutely be successful at, regardless. An example would be, for me, I won't eat lamb. When I was a carnivore, I could not eat lamb. It's just not something for me. It doesn't taste good. And so for me saying this year I'm not going to eat lamb, I'm already successful. I won't visit the Antarctic. I am a sun girl. I am a lizard. I love the sun. The cold makes my bones hurt, and I know that it would be a great place to go, but even if I had the ticket, I would give it to someone else. I won't go deer hunting. Absolutely no desire to shoot Bambi whatsoever. I am not going to do it. Don't want to experience that. I won't steal anything. Well, that's a given. That's just not in my nature or in my heart to do. The last one, I won't go bar hopping. I choose not to put myself in that type of energy. And so, guess what? I'm already successful. I have set forth 5 goals that I absolutely know are not going to happen. So it might seem silly, but if you start out with something that you know you're going to be successful at, then you've created an energy. And the energy is, I'm not going to be successful when I get to this point, but I'm successful now. Now, for the more serious goals, I suggest choosing at least 3 main goals that you're going to move forward in the year 2013. My 3 are, I will meditate regularly. This is something that I know is going to enhance my life. It's going to make me a happier person and in turn make those around me happier. Number 2, I will give love freely and unconditionally. That means I'm not going to be your friend and love you as long as you treat me nice. That means that I'm going to love you regardless. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you can give me or what you have to offer. Just love, just to love. And to be loved for who you are and not what you can be and not what you can change into. Number 3, I will be happier each day and do my best to reach my full potential. Do you see how these are easily obtainable and how they actually make your life more positive and helps you to change your life to be positive? And it's not something it's something you can do right now. It's not, if I do this later on and achieve it later on, then I'll be successful. Here are some more good examples of goals and resolutions. Number 1, I will not step out of my way to cause harm to anyone or anything. Number 2, I will train myself to see beauty. Instead of looking at the negative aspects of things, look for something that's good out of it. Okay, for me, like I said earlier, it's the cold weather. I'm not a big fan of the cold weather, but the positive side of it is I can go home and build a fire and bake cookies and watch, a movie with my kids. So instead of sitting around and sniveling about how cold it is, now I've done something to create a memory and love for me and my family or for whoever else. Find the good things. Find the beauty in every situation, no matter how difficult it may be. Number 3, I promise to share beauty with anyone who wishes to share it with me. Number 4, I'm going to be more accepting of others, of myself, of gifts and situations. Number 5, this is a biggie, but a great one. I'm going to simplify my life. Everything doesn't have to be so difficult. And what a beautiful thing to have a little simplicity in your life. Number 6, another big one. I'm going to finish everything I start. If you really think about it, once you get started, it really isn't that difficult. It's the procrastination and thinking about what you have to do and getting it off the ground that's the most difficult. So if you know there's something you have to do, either get up and start doing it and you'll finish, or let it go. Number 7, This year, I will be more forgiving on a daily basis, no matter how big or how small. Yeah. This year, I will work on acceptance of others, of myself, and of situations. Because sometimes the world can be hard on us, but nobody can be as hard on you as you are yourself. You are doing the best you can do with what you have. Accept it and let the rest go. Number 9, I will release any negative thoughts or emotions. It sounds simple, but it's one of the most difficult things to do. A good way to do this is to look at your life as if it were a garden, and you're the gardener. You need to plant your ideas and your dreams and your own seeds of happiness. But no matter how hard you work and how much beauty is around you, you know those weeds are going to pop up, because that's just how a garden works, and that's just how life goes. You, the gardener, need to keep your garden free of weeds so that other things can grow, so that the beautiful flowers don't get strangled. And as you know, the weeds that I speak of are ugly little thoughts, disharmony, and negativity. These thoughts can destroy your beautiful garden, the garden that you worked so hard to plant, your dreams, your goals, your thoughts. And when you're able to get rid of these and cast them aside, it'll be a beautiful garden. Your life will be beautiful. You know, one of the most difficult things to say or to feel or to own is, it's none of my business what others think of me. But yet this is our daily life. You can hear 15 great things said about you and pats on the back, but you will hold that one thing that somebody says to upset you. That is a weed. And from that one weed, 10 more weeds will sprout, and that is your self-insecurities. And you've got to learn to just walk over and yank them out and toss them aside. Don't give negative thoughts or anger energy. This is done by dwelling on them. And have you ever noticed that when there's something in your mind and it starts really little, and the more you think about it, and the more it bothers you, the larger it becomes. And pretty soon, you have stewed your mind into a mess. And then when the time comes for you to face whatever it is that's bothering you in the first place, it ends up being very little. And you're like, oh my gosh, I've spent a whole week sitting here dreaming about it. It will go into your dreams. It'll go into your thoughts. It's just ridiculous. We are all guilty of it. But you don't have to live that way. It might seem a little more difficult to change your negative thoughts into positive, but if you keep working at it, it will become a habit. So it's awareness, living in awareness. Think about what you're thinking about. Thought is powerful. Thought creates. When you're aware of your thoughts and what you're thinking about and how you're thinking about others and what you're thinking about yourself, then when something comes along like this to disrupt you, you're going to recognize it and you're going to want to let it go. And you're going to realize that it isn't doing anything positive for your life. And if it's what someone else thinks about you, then guess what? That's their problem, and it becomes a mirror of who they are and what the difficulty is in their life. It doesn't have to be yours, and you do not need to own it. And you don't need to fix the world. You fix yourself, and the world will be happy along with you. And if it isn't, then take yourself out of that energy. Don't be a part of it. Number 10. Here's another big one. I will always be honest with myself. Think about what you're thinking about. Because if you cannot be honest with yourself, you're fooling the biggest fool on the planet. You. 11. And here's another really big one. Don't pretend to love. Keep it real. Mean what you say and say what you mean. This also falls in the category of unconditional love. Because if you're telling someone a story or lying to them just to be in their good graces, who are you really hurting? Yourself. That's right. Keep it real. Mean what you say what you mean, and accept only those words that feel right in your heart. Looking back on 2012, like many of you, I can say it's had its tough moments. A lot of lessons learned in 2012. I went through so many lessons this year. But instead of thinking of all the negative things, I want to focus, and I invite you to focus on the good things and how you overcame those things. Not just, wow, this happened and it really affected my life in a terrible way, but acknowledge yourself, acknowledge that you had the power and you had the strength to overcome those things that you went through. Because it really is you that did it. Even if somebody offered a suggestion to you to make it better, you're the one who you got the strength to be able to come through it and get through it yourself. Whether it was personal, financial, no matter what it is. Most importantly, when you look back at your accomplishments, don't say, yeah, I did that, but you know what, I could have did it better. Or I said that, but I should have said this or that. Think about it. At that time, you did the best with what you had. And now that you have the opportunity to look back, you're also coming from a different state. Yeah, maybe you could do it better now, but that's the beauty of being where you are now and working through the issues that you had to work through. Because now you have more strength and you have more clarity. Don't lessen your strengths and the abilities of what you did in the past. Instead of looking into the beyond, take time to notice and appreciate what you have done and where you are now. Very important. Don't sell yourself short. Don't lessen the specialness of what you did in the first place. It even goes beyond that. Don't look at a coworker or a loved one or a relative or a friend and say, yeah, they did this or they did that, but you know what? They could have done it differently. They could have did it better. Or here's one that, since it's coming up on Christmas, pay attention to this one. Yeah, they gave me a gift, but I know they make more money than that. What were they thinking? They're so selfish. Or they know, how do you not know me? How do you give me something like this when you know that I can't use anything like this? Think about what you're thinking about. Don't say they could have gave me a better gift. Maybe they did the best with what they had at the time. And here's another thing to think about. Usually, 9 times out of 10, when someone gives you a gift, unless they really are thinking about you, they're generally buying you something they really want. So if you really want to know what someone wants for Christmas, pay attention to what they're buying you. But in reality, when they get you a gift, do you really know what's going on in their mind? Maybe in some way they're connecting that to you. And you don't really know what they're thinking. You don't really know what their finances are. Maybe they did do the best with what they had. And if you're allowing yourself to think this way, then you're taking away the specialness of the attempt for them to get you something in the first place. They thought about you. When you hold this kind of emotion, it lessens the specialness of the gesture and you fail to appreciate the attempt. So this year, don't judge the gift by judging the person. Just allow yourself to accept it. And another really important thing is when somebody gives you a gift, don't feel bad and don't feel like you have to run out and get them something in return. Can't you just accept it, that they wanted to make you happy and get you something, or that they thought about you? It doesn't have to turn into, well, I don't deserve this or I deserve it. This is unconditional love. The ability to accept without conditions. Remember the old cliche? It's the thought that counts. A little bit of something is better than a whole lot of nothing. Instead of complaining about something you don't have, recognize and be thankful for what you do have. Another really big point I'd like to make is to don't ever tell yourself, once I reach this goal, I'm going to be successful. Because when you do this, you're telling yourself that you're not successful now. You've got a long way to go. And it really is a negative thought. It's a negative emotion. Success starts every single day. You woke up, didn't you? You're breathing, aren't you? You have people that are around you that love you. That's success. Success can be as easy as going for a walk. It really can be. But this time, if you're going to go for a walk, don't just go to get from point A to point B. Really go for the walk. Take the time to slow down. Smell, feel, look around you, be in the moment. Take a walk just for you. Not just to hurry up and get somewhere. And don't ruin it by on your walk thinking about all the things that you should have done or shouldn't have done. Just walk. Just breathe. Look around and see what God has created. You're part of that creation. The trees, the plants, the dogs that are barking at you, everything. You can't change others. You can only suggest. That doesn't mean anything's going to happen. You can, however, change yourself. All it takes is a little bit of effort, and you have to be willing to be willing. And you have to do it for yourself. Don't change yourself to be what someone else wants, because that's fake. That is not unconditional love. You have to do it for yourself and to be inside of yourself, to be thankful. And if whoever is in your life can accept you for who you are and how much you love and care about yourself, then you really need to evaluate whether that person's worth being in your life. And sometimes it's not just a romantic thing. Sometimes it's sisters, brothers, mothers, fathers. Find things that are going to bring you peace and harmony in your life. Make a conscious effort to follow your own advice. How many of us have great advice for everyone, but then we tend to not follow our own advice? Again, that falls under the lines of think about what you're thinking about. Be aware of your feelings. Be aware of your thoughts. Be aware of how others are making you feel. Do not get discouraged that these changes don't happen overnight, because they will. They will happen. But you just have to keep working on it, working on it. And when you do make these changes, think about all the positive things that are going to be in your life. You can wake up and be happy. You can go to bed and get a good night's sleep. Another really great goal to have is to live each day with contentment and happiness and have enough guts to share it with other people. Take time every day, preferably in the morning before you wake up. Tell yourself, today I'm going to be happier than I was yesterday. This is also known as geometric progression. You tell yourself this every day and it is bound to happen. And just think, if you start telling yourself every single day, starting today, starting tomorrow, starting the day after, today I'm going to be happier than I was yesterday. I'm going to have a positive outlook. I'm going to be able to accept things that others say that isn't my own reality and let it go. Just think about how happy you'll be by spring. Another thing is when you wake up and look at yourself in the morning in the mirror, give yourself a thumbs up. Say hi to yourself. Say, hey, you're doing a good job. I love you. Is that egotistical? No. You going to wait for someone else to do it? Why? Be proud of who you are. You chose to come here in this body of yours. Warts, moles, and all. Love it. Embrace yourself. Experience the wonderfulness that exists within you. And you can be the first one to greet yourself every day, not just looking in the mirror and stretching and doing whatever you do. This is another good habit to have. Look at yourself for who you really are. Find the beauty that resides in you. Tell yourself, I am not going to be embarrassed when someone compliments me or tells me something positive and beautiful. Accept it. Why is it so hard to accept how someone else who compliments us sees us? Shouldn't you be proud that they see beauty in you? Shouldn't you have the strength to be able to see yourself that way? You will run into people that just can't take a compliment, and that is so sad because they are exactly what you are, an expression of God. Don't you agree that there is nothing more terrible or sad than seeing someone tear themselves apart? It actually hurts us and makes us feel helpless. Yet we all do it in certain degrees. We do, if you really think about it. But you can also change it. Change it to a positive. And don't let their energy affect you. Because if you're always there to pat them on the back and tell them, oh, it's okay, then sometimes it just becomes something they do so that they can hear you pat them on the back. Be true to yourself. Give your heart and give your love. But don't get caught up in the emotions and the difficulties of others. Think about how different our lives would be if we could just make these seemingly easy self-adjustments. I wish I could tell you it's as easy as duck soup, but it isn't. It has to be worked on a daily basis, every day, every minute. It is possible, though. And each and every one of us is worth it. Learning to give and receive love is one of the lessons that many of us will work on for many lifetimes. And forgiveness. But you're progressing because you're here right now and you're listening and you're working on making these changes. And this can be done. 2013 can be a whole new beginning. And the end of 2012 can be the beginning of that beginning. Well, I came upon the following words that are great agreements to make with yourself to help you achieve the resolutions and goals that you set for yourself. Number 1, be impeccable with your word Speak with integrity. Say only what you mean. Avoid using words to speak against yourself or to gossip against others. Use the power of words in the direction of love and truth. Number 2, this is a big one for me. Don't take anything personally. Nothing others do is because of you. What others say and do is a projection of their own reality, their own dream. And when you are immune to the opinions and actions of others, you won't be the victim of needless suffering. Number 3, don't make assumptions. Find the courage to ask questions and to express what you really want. Communicate with others as clearly as you can to avoid misunderstandings, to avoid sadness, and to avoid drama. With this one adjustment, with just this one agreement, you can completely transform your life. Always do your best, and your best is going to change from moment to moment. It will be different when you're healthy as opposed to when you are sick. Under any circumstances, simply do your best to avoid self-judgment, self-abuse, and regret. Number 5, be skeptical, but learn to listen. You can recover all of your power and your authenticity, which is who you really are when you are born. Learn to look at your life in a more simple way, and remember, truth is always the simplest answer, not the complex one. And we all know the serenity prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, to have the courage to change the things that I can, and have the wisdom to know the difference, to live one day at a time, to enjoy one moment at a time, accepting hardships on the pathway to peace, to be able to look at challenges as opportunities for spiritual growth. Thank you.